Eat, Drink, DFW from the Dallas Morning News is made possible by Central Market.
North Texas food fans, it's time for another episode of Eat, Drink, DFW from the Dallas Morning News. Every week, our food staff loves to dig into the local restaurant scene, talk about food and drink trends, and those things that make North Texas, North Texas. This is Anna Butler. I'm the News's food and events editor and your podcast host. This week, in honor of Halloween, we're talking about the things at restaurants that terrify us. We'll be back with that and much more, so stick around. You won't want to miss this.
Central Market is really into food. Like when we say cheese, it's in 12 languages into food. Butchers, bakers, and sushi roll makers into food. We're talking so obsessive about quality you can shop blindfolded into food. Central Market is really into food. If you are too, then let us turn your shopping list into a treasure map. Get inspired, get adventurous, or just get a chef-made dinner when you've got more taste buds than time. No place makes every meal more amazing like Central Market. Really into food. Shop now at centralmarket.com.
And we're back. For the latest food and restaurant news, visit dallasnews.com/food. And we'd love to hear from you. If you have any food questions, a need for restaurant ideas, and more, reach out to us by visiting dallasnews.com/askeatdrink and fill out the form there. Today, I'm joined by our food writers, Sarah Blaskovich and Imelda Garcia. Claire Valor is out today. Hey, guys.
Hey, how are
Hey.
you?
All right. So last week we talked about Imelda's project where she's working to find authentic Mexican cuisine across North Texas. And I'm just plugging it again because she wrote about Trompo tacos for the latest installment. And I learned so much about the dish's origins. It's part restaurant guide, part history and social studies lesson. And it's just really fantastic. So Imelda, did you learn anything about Trompo tacos that you didn't know before this?
I learned that there are a lot of types of tacos, of trompo tacos, and all of them are delicious. I don't know. Have you ever had trompo tacos, guys?
Yes. Yes. And
Okay.
now I'm struggling to think if I've had the Monterey style ones because I've definitely had trompo meat. It's very similar to shawarma where it's stacked meat in kind of a cone, conical type shape. It rotates and roasts on a spit. But trompo tacos in Monterey mean something very specific. So there's the trompo device and then there are trompo tacos or trompo specifically to Monterey. And that was interesting to me because I didn't really know that there was a designation that had the same name as cooking concept?
Yeah. There are a lot of types of tacos that are made on trompos. Trompo is this, we know, this spinning thing that it's spinning with the meat, so it can cook it. So, but for example, in Mexico City, we use it for al pastor tacos. In Puebla, they use it for some tacos árabes. Things like Arabic tacos, and that is because the trompo came from Middle East to America. I mean, maybe 100 years ago, some Turkish and Lebanese immigrants bring that to Mexico, and so we adopted to Mexican. We Mexicanized the way that we cook that meat, So we
Mhm.
added some spices and some chile, and I mean, we did some amazing tacos. But in Monterrey, they use some kind of spices that are not used in another parts of the country. So that's why they are very different. But the main difference maybe is the color. It's like in Monterrey they are like these very very red tacos, and in Mexico City they are more like a brownish, and in Puebla it's like more than a natural color of the meat. So the flavor is very different also, but they are all delicious.
Yeah, 120 pounds of meat. Sign me up.
And what makes the red happen on the meat as it turns?
They have a lot of spices in there, maybe paprika, achiote, some other spices. Actually, they are very, very secretive with the recipe.
Mm.
But yeah, it's all natural. I mean, it's not artificial color, so it's everything spices.
Well, and you had talked to someone named Joe Reyna, Imelda, and he has a secret blend of 12 kind of chilies and spices, but he said that this very distinctive red color came from the right balance of garlic and fresh garlic within that because it actually causes a fermentation process.
Yeah.
And so it looks almost pinky when you're looking at the marinade on it, but if he used too much garlic, it wouldn't be the right color. And so it's like a little bit of a balancing act, it seems like.
Yeah, because they allow the trompo to fermentate. They put it in a fridge for maybe 1 day or two, and then they take it off and then they cook it. So yeah, it's a whole art to make something like this. Because I mean, as you said, 120 pounds of meat and not to go sideways. I mean, it's an art.
Yeah. A literal balancing act
Yeah,
too.
yeah, that's right.
I
So
also found this story really interesting, Imelda, that um, it was hard to find uh, trompo tacos from Monterey outside of people's homes for a certain amount of time. And you kind of explain why. Can you talk a little bit about the timeline? I mean, how recently has it been easier to find trompo tacos from Monterey and where?
Well, Joe told me this story about it was really difficult to find these tacos here in Dallas because we didn't have the spinning thing, and people were really careful with the meat, because this is a spinning thing, the people want to make sure that the meat was cooked well. So they have to be very careful with that, and they were advancing little by little until they get more trust in making those here in Dallas. Joe remembers this time when he went with his father to eat these tacos. I mean, in garage, in homes, but little by little, more people from Monterrey immigrate to Dallas, and they started to look for these tacos. So they became more and more accessible to people here in Dallas.
that's fascinating though that it was probably like a health department related thing because we really don't actually cook meat that way aside from maybe like rotisserie chicken
Yeah,
as much here in the
true.
US. So that's fascinating.
Yeah, true. So try some tacos and let us know which one are your favorites, guys.
Imelda, I feel like you're my expert on this.
Oh God.
So, where do you eat these tacos?
So these tacos are very popular in Dallas, but we found this place in a little gas station south of Dallas. It's called Taco Rey, and they have really, really good tacos. And but we have another places. We have a Taqueria Taxco. We have them in La Salsa Verde. We have in a lot of places. And actually, we are working on this kind of guide, authentic Mexican food guide. And what we are going to do is we are pouring there all the places that we are talking about in DFW Sabores, so you guys, you can find those places that we are exploring. Let us know, what do you think?
Yeah, it'll be a really nice way that you can kind of go and compare even what we are finding to be authentic Mexican food in DFW to maybe as not as traditional things, Tex-Mex and things like that. I'm really excited about being able to do the compare and contrast personally. Speaking of food from other places, though, Sarah, you had a chance to take something off your bucket list. Can you walk us through that?
Yes, I just spent a long weekend in New Orleans, which is one of my favorite places on earth. And my husband and I try to get there probably twice a year, always to eat and drink, of course. And we are people who love all parts of New Orleans. So, we were there for a 40th birthday, and a lot of our friends our age are like, we don't go to the French Quarter anymore. They were hanging out in the Garden District, which is a wonderful part of New Orleans. But we love every part of New Orleans. So we always spend some time in the quarter. We always spend some time eating in the Garden District. And I'll go really anywhere else in that city if it means eating good food. Now, in the many times I've been in New Orleans, I'd never been to Galatoire's for Friday brunch. And Friday brunch at Galatoire's is the tippy top of brunches probably in the country. And it is just this fancy, silly, boozy fun fest. And it happens just on Fridays. And so I scored us a table for 10 people to take some of these friends on the 40th birthday to Galatoire's.
But how did you even get a reservation that big? That's huge.
Yes, and it's just hard to get a seat here, even if you have a smaller group. So Galatoire's now takes reservations on Resi, which is just a reservation app that I have on my phone. And so I simply made the reservation on my phone for a certain number of people. I ended up expanding that number. And I said in the notes, we want to sit in the main dining room. And the thing about Galatoire's is there are lots of different places. There's a bar upstairs, there's a bar next door. Next door in the steakhouse, there's also more banquet style seating back there. But where you want to be is the main dining room. And so by specifying that, I thought it might be fine that we were going to get a spot in the main dining room, even though uh, anybody you've talked to who's gone to New Orleans and tried to eat at Galatoire's says, it's really hard to be in that room. Well, this was the goal. So I showed up an hour before our reservation, dressed up. It is a place where you do dress up. My husband was wearing a coat. I was wearing a bright pink dress and tall heels. And I got there an hour early and stood near the host stand and asked, is it possible that we can be in the main dining room? And a bunch of people went here, there, wherever. And they came back. He was so nice. He said, I'm so sorry. We don't have a table for you in the place that you want. Everybody wants that room. And we just don't have it today for your table of 10. And so I said, oh gosh, okay. I've promised 9 other people that we're going to have this incredible once in a lifetime brunch. And I understand. And can you show me the table where you're going to put us? And so they did. And we walk all the way through the restaurant, back through the kitchen, around a corner into this back room, which is very nice, but not the room that we hoped to sit in. And they say, we're going to sit here. And I'm like, okay, let's make this fantastic. So maybe we'll get a couple bottles of champagne before people walk in. And, this is going to be a really great brunch. And so I say, thank you so much. We're really looking forward to brunch. And, maybe next time I can be in the main dining room. And I exit and I walk across the street where my husband has been standing, drinking an Irish coffee at 10:30 in the morning and waiting. And
Breakfast coffee.
that's right. And I should plug the best breakfast coffee, in my opinion, comes from Aaron Rose, which is a bar around the street in the French Quarter. And they have a slushy machine, which with God knows what's in there. I don't even know what spirits, plural, are in this Irish coffee, but it tastes like a coffee milkshake and it is yummy. So I go to tell my husband we didn't get the table that we wanted. We will be with my best friend since 6th grade and
Wow.
all of her friends and many of mine, and this will be fantastic. Meanwhile, event planners are coming in and out of Galatoire's, setting up balloons and centerpieces with flowers. They are like stringing beads all over the tables and some of the chairs. Like so people who have tables in this main dining room are like have hired other people to like set up their table, which is not what I was prepared for, and I didn't do that.
Do we even see things like that in Dallas? Like, I'm trying to
No.
think, because I feel like Dallas would be more likely to have that kind of scene, but I've never seen that
And
before.
we brunch here. Great point. What is the equivalent? I can't think of one. I can't think of an equivalent in any city, really. So I'm standing, I'm drinking my Irish coffee, and one of the servers comes out and he says, "Hey, the guy has an idea." So I go back across the street. I go into Galatoire's, and it's probably 15 minutes before showtime. And everybody's brunch reservation starts at 11:30, and it's probably a little after 11. And he says, "This never happens, but we have a 10 top in the corner of the main dining room." And I said, "Oh my gosh, how did that happen?" And he's like, "Oh, it doesn't really matter." And I really don't know how this happened. But he said, and I think this is the moral of the story, he said, "When I told you that you weren't going to get the table you wanted, you were nice to me. And you said, well, we're going to make this work and we're going to make it great."
Wow.
And we were able to move some stuff around, and you can be in the room you want to be in with your friends.
Wow.
I was like, I hugged him, I'm sure. And I was like, we're going to have so much fun. And what ensued was a 5-hour brunch. The 10 of us got 6 bottles of rosé, the big bottles,
Like a Jeroboam?
like magnums.
Okay.
And we have a friend at the end of the table. He's a new friend of mine who can make things out of a champagne cage, the metal part you take off the top of the champagne bottle. And he
I will
crafted.
say, hand motion wise, I thought you were going to do balloon animals. And I was like, where did you find this friend, Sarah?
Doesn't it seem as though we should have had a balloon animal artist? This place was so larger than life. So he made a dining room table of little champagne cages that he turned into 6 different chairs.
Wow.
Beautiful. And a couple hours in, the place gets rowdy. So you've got all these people dressed to the nines who have had a bit to drink. And so in comes the second line with a tuba, a marching tuba, a trumpet, couple of trombones, I think a drum or two. And they march right up to my friend and sing her happy birthday. And she bursts into tears, and we're all like losing our minds. It's so fun. And of course, there are other things happening in the room. There's a baby shower, and there's another birthday, and there's something else. And so next thing I know, there's a conga line, and I'm dancing, and there's like arms in the air and jazz hands. And it was quite simply the best anything I've done before noon, I think, in my life.
I have to say, too, of a bucket list item to do, it sounds like it was 10 times even better than what your best bucket list
Yes.
imagining of that thing could be.
Yes, and one interesting thing about Galatoire's is that you do kind of go to be in the room and to drink the drinks and whatever. You know, everybody started with a Sazerac or with a champagne cocktail. That's kind of their thing. But the food, you guys, was like out of this world. We had lamb chops and steak that were like killer. We had gumbo and turtle soup. We had several salads. They have a whole array of crab stuffed related dishes. And because there were so many of us and everybody was just really down to have a great time, the servers just brought us food. We were just like, how would you feed 10 people who want to try all the things? Because we will never be back here probably. And if we do, it won't be Lauren's 40th birthday. And it won't be with this group of people who I have known. I did the math on that like way over half my life. You know, it was just a really special group of people. And it would be fine if I told you that the food was ho hum because the atmosphere is better, but it was all fantastic. And the service was good. We had two servers who, by the end of it, I don't know if they feel the same way, but they were my best friends. And they just did a killer job of making us feel welcome. And of course, I thanked Billy on the way out for getting my 9 friends and I a once in a lifetime brunch that my friend still cried about days later. She was just so happy.
That's so sweet. And it does reinforce one of the things that I believe the most. You catch more flies with honey.
Yeah.
Yes, it was never going to be in character for me to throw a fit. I'm just not like that. But also, I do think that our business is talking to people in restaurants, and we understand these people, right? So, like, I think I care a lot more about what their day was going to be like too, and I hope I and lots of other people have just learned how to behave ourselves in restaurants. And I didn't think I was going to get that table. I didn't think my reaction was going to help. I just was trying to be nice like you are. But it did more than that, and that's amazing.
I think this is worth it. A visit to New Orleans, as you say.
I think you would love that city. You could walk the whole place. You can
Yeah.
antique shop. You can go to incredible museums. You can, of course, eat great food and drink. I love the people too. Every time I go to New Orleans, I meet somebody from there or lots of people from there. And I would probably live there.
The only times I've ever been to New Orleans I would describe is that it was on accident, which is a weird way to describe it. But the last time I was there, my little sister had an extra companion pass for Southwest that expired within a week. And we had been at an Italy Loro collab dinner, and maybe had a little bit of wine, and we're like, let's go to New Orleans next weekend. And we did. And so we went for a 36-hour trip. We went to 12 restaurants.
Oh my gosh.
I'd never had heartburn before, and maybe that's just me being very, privileged in that capacity. I was sick for a week afterwards because everything is so butter heavy,
Yep.
and it's so good though. But I will remember every single bite I had while there. But it was so fun. But again, every time I've been, it was an accident, and I would love to plan something with a little bit more intention next time.
Well, now you have the place to plan it.
Yes.
Yes. Now you have to be commended for going to 12 restaurants in just a couple of days, Anna. That is incredible.
Yeah.
That's a 2 dinner situation, I feel.
One night and one night only was really what we had, and we did have 2 dinners.
Yeah.
2 dinners per night. Justine's is probably one of my favorite restaurants.
Yes.
And it's French food, and I culinary background was in French, classical French cuisine, which is harder to find in Dallas, but not so much as in Austin. So it's like you can still find it, but man, New Orleans does a good job with that.
Yes. And I will say the diversity of cuisine in New Orleans is also incredible. One of my favorite restaurants serving Israeli food was there. Now that Chef Alon Shaya has other restaurants, but he was just, he had a restaurant back in the day that was, it was game changing for me when it came to understanding fancy Israeli food, which I really didn't at the time. And gosh, you can eat certainly Cajun food, French food, that kind of thing. But they have everything there, including like some awfully good late night pizza if you've had too much to drink on bourbon. I mean, it runs the gamut. We also went to Molly's Rise and Shine, which is the sister restaurant to Turkey and the Wolf, which was lauded by Bon Appetit as one of the best new restaurants in the country years ago. And Molly's Rise and Shine is a breakfast place, and we had a incredible breakfast in this hilariously designed restaurant with like dinosaur stickers on the wall. The whole place is decked out as if you were a 90s kid. And as it turns out, I was. and there are Beanie Babies on the way to the bathroom. Like the whole thing is just kitschy and put together in an inexpensive and lovable way. And the food at Molly's Rise and Shine was really serious.
Yeah, Turkey and the Wolf too. I was like, when you go, it's the plates are the ones that you would have received with your Happy Meal at McDonald's. So it'll be a themed McDonald's plate or something like that. And it was so tasty. So Imelda, I guess we're gonna have to take you to New Orleans. Have you been?
Yes. No, never.
Okay.
I'll
I have
take
to
you.
go, and I know where I want to go now, Sarah. Thanks to you.
We also went to Cafe Du Monde and had beignets. And the most beautiful thing about that was our total bill for two of us to cover ourselves in powdered sugar and have a couple
Wow.
coffees was like, I don't know, $8. It was
Wow.
outrageous. That's one thing. We did spend quite a bit of money at Galatoire's. It was a next level bucket list thing. However, I found the drinks and the food in general to be way better priced than in Dallas. Those Irish coffees I was telling you about from the bar Aaron Rose, they're $4. That's an alcoholic drink for $4. Like I don't even know where you could get one of those in Dallas.
Mm-mm.
I was gonna say, I actually feel like their cold brew is more expensive than alcohol in New Orleans.
Yes, probably. Yes. It was so refreshing. We've been talking a lot about price, and we all make the same amount of money, even though things cost more. And if you can get yourself to New Orleans, and especially if you plan, man, you could find lunches and dinners for $10 and $20.
That is not happening in Dallas for sure.
I know.
No.
I know. Well, thank you for letting me share that story. And I was just delighted to be there with a friend for her birthday, but it was really capped off by a brunch I will never forget.
I want just Friday brunch in general is all I
Yeah.
can say.
Yeah.
Okay, Imelda, you brought in a treat that's probably gonna, start a little bit of a conversation.
Yeah, guys, today is Halloween, as you know. So I brought you this Mexican pastry, but it's in a really fun shape. It's some kind of mice. It's chocolate mice. So I don't even remember if these are filled with something. So let's try them. Let's discover it.
So
Sarah?
I was amazed. Imelda walked in with mice made out of chocolate and kind of went like, look what I brought, and then didn't explain it at all. And I was like, are we saying this is a normal thing or not? And you said, totally. You see these all over Mexico, right?
Yes. Yes, this is very normal in a Mexican panaderia, so you can find them everywhere. And here in Denton, I found them in a Mexican panaderia. It's called Lucy's. So they sell them, and I was like, oh, I know what I have to bring to the guys in the podcast to try. So who wants to behead it?
Why does
Come
everyone
on.
always look at me? Just kidding.
Boss, you got to cut the mice's head off.
So, what I would say too is that the ears are made out of almond slivers. The tail looks like it might be a cherry stem, and the eyeballs, I don't think that's royal icing. But whoa, it's
Boom, boom,
softer.
boom, boom, boom,
It's,
boom, boom,
it's
boom, boom,
softer
boom,
than I
boom, boom,
thought.
boom, boom, boom. She's cutting the mice in two.
Okay, it's been beheaded.
It's chocolate mousse, right?
It's not chocolate mousse. It kind of looks like a cake ball on the inside.
Oh,
So
okay.
I would say it's closer
Dense.
to a ganache. On the outside, it is a soft, I would assume, milk related something, and then it looks like a soft. I'm going with cake ball because I feel like people can actually recognize that texture now. But it would either way, it's either a really moist cake or a moist cake that was made moister with something else. I keep
remember
saying moist.
It's your word.
I'm not kidding. I've said moist more recording this podcast than I ever have in my life combined before.
It's a weird word.
It's a weird word. I don't think there's an actual cherry in here. No, there is.
I do not want that part.
I just opened. It's
Hopefully it's
I would say the second half of the mouse where the tail is, thinking that they just stuck in a cherry stem to make the tail. No, there was an actual cherry inside. And when I opened its
Back end.
back end, that came out of that.
Stop talking about it and eat it.
No,
She doesn't want to.
I'm
Yeah, I
so
know. I
nervous.
I really do
I'll
want
eat it.
some of this.
I really want some of it.
What I remember about them is they are really sweet.
Anna just tried to hand me a knife part.
So sorry. There's a lot happening.
I know. I was like, I was never a chef, but I don't think you're supposed to do that.
There are nuts in this. No one's got an allergy, right?
No.
No.
I'm going with walnuts for this.
Oh.
It is also, I would say it reminds you almost like of a banana bread texture on the inside. It's darker.
But there's
and-
liquor in there. You
Yeah.
taste that burn?
Part of me is wondering if it's like almost like an Amaro.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. It's cakier than I thought. I thought it was going to be much fluffier, like the mousse that it isn't.
Yeah.
It's a mice, not a moose.
Oh my gosh, Sarah.
It's a gift, you guys. All these jokes is a gift.
These puns keep going. Well, I like this a lot more than Coke.
I know, right?
It's such a weird comparison.
I've said moist more on this show than I ever had, and I've had more Coke on this show than I've ever had before.
Now I need a glass of milk
I actually
know.
want
Take
another
down-
piece. Bring me its little head.
to take down
Oh
the.
gosh,
I want the
the sugar.
almonds.
Oh, God.
how Halloweeny! Bring me his head.
Well, it is Halloween, and I'm not personally a huge Halloween person in the way that I'm a huge fraidy cat. Like I am scared all the time if I try to watch anything horror related. But that being said, Sarah suggested a topic that I loved, and that is what are things at restaurants that frighten us? Which is such a real thing, though. Like when you walk in and you're like, "Huh."
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I don't know you guys, but I have anxiety menu in a restaurant. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't want to make any mistake. There are a lot of options, and I don't. I mean, I want to pick right. I want to pick the best food. Sometimes I'm like nervous about it, and I'm just hoping and taking a leap of faith. Yeah.
Do you feel more pressure as a food professional ordering food?
No, actually, I don't. I'm not picky with food. I just want to make the best choice. And I don't know, maybe sometimes there are a lot of things and I'm not sure. I'm always asking the waiter, what is the best?
I was going to ask, are you the person who's sitting
Yeah.
there? If you ask someone what the best thing at a restaurant is, someone on a wait staff is more likely to tell you the most popular items on the menu rather than being like, here's what I think is the best. So I like to be like, what is your best seller?
Yeah. Mhm.
And then also, what do you like the best? Because I feel like those
Yeah.
are usually two different things a lot of
Yeah,
the time, too.
absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, you have to trust them because they work there. I have to pass a napkin to Anna.
Anna's covered in mice chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Imelda, my two things that frighten me at restaurants are also menu related. So I think
Oh.
this is interesting.
Yes.
The first thing on a menu that frightens me is when it says MP for the
Mhm.
price, which means market
Mhm.
price.
Yeah.
And MP on a restaurant means this is expensive,
Yeah.
it's seasonal,
Mhm.
and I dine with our friends a lot, and I never mind asking. I feel like some people, when you go to a higher end place, they're like, well, I don't want to ask how much the lobster is.
Mhm.
I'm like, that is your money. You're
Yeah.
welcome to ask them anything you like. And so I'm always the one who says, if they got the daily special and they're real excited about it and it's got ingredients on it that are probably expensive, I never mind saying, and how much does that cost?
Mhm.
And then you as a group decide, whether $60 for the lobster is too much or if it's just right.
Mhm.
But MP frightens me a little bit, but there is a
Mhm.
way to get around it. The second thing that frightens me is QR codes instead of menus.
Mm.
And here's why. I didn't mind them at all in the pandemic, and I don't mind them in general at more casual restaurants. However, I love restaurant menus. I like to read them. I like to think about why they were organized that way. I like to talk to the server about exactly the things Anna just said, not only what you sell a lot of, but what do you eat when your shift is
Mhm.
over. And I care a lot about the way a menu is put together because it tells a lot of the rest of us about how we should be enjoying that restaurant. And QR codes pulled up on your phone kill any sort of camaraderie at the table.
Yeah.
You're not reaching across pointing at the menu. Would you like to share this and that with me? Or you open the wine list. Does anybody want a bottle of this, for instance? It messes up why we're in a restaurant, which is for the community, the socialization, and of course the food. And so I worry that the higher end restaurants and even a few steps down from higher end that are still saving the money on paper or whatever to do the QR codes, they are being environmentally friendly, but man, the risk of losing people to their phones and then texting a friend and then oops, I opened Instagram and forgetting how to
Yeah.
be present at that table. I worry
Mhm.
about that.
I have a thing with it too, where it's just almost the sensory piece of it to completely sound like Patrick Bateman. Do you know the scene in American Psycho when he's talking about business cards and the weight of them
Yeah.
and the different font choices, and he's comparing himself to someone else. It's not like that, except that there's something about when you get a really nice menu that's very thoughtful, that maybe it's embossed, and it's very clear that someone has painstakingly chosen this font to go here and this color. I like that it is the piece of a restaurant that can tie it all together at the end too. I think that's really special,
Yep.
where it's thoughtful in the way that decor is thoughtful, and that this dish is presented this way, but the dish being presented this way actually talks to the way that the menu is set up too. Like, I
Yes.
think there's an
Yeah.
extra artisanal artisan thing happening there.
Agree.
I have a lot of things that scare me at restaurants.
Oh,
Cashless restaurants creep me out. I will flock to a cash only one because I feel like that means it must be very good, if they can get away with doing that. It's a double standard. But when you don't accept cash, I'm a little like, yes, I get that you don't want to pay someone to have to go to the bank for you, and it probably is something that is like risk mitigation. But I'm like, why do you think that you're too good for the U.S. currency?
Mm.
We get that we're not gold backed anymore. You don't have to remind us. It feels like that a little bit.
And are you someone who always has cash, Anna?
Yeah, I always have cash.
Okay.
Please don't rob me.
Yes. No, it doesn't, I'm not getting like a strong drug trade or mafia vibe from you, Anna. I don't think you're laundering money, but it is interesting to know that you always have cash, because I rarely have cash,
yeah.
and I should carry, at least a 20 so that we can ballet and all these things. Although, um, all the reasons why you needed cash are now app based too. I walked by the Girl Scout table at the supermarket and I said, I'm so sorry I don't have cash. And they're like, well, we have Square. We'll take your credit card. And the valet guys will take a Venmo tip, which I'm really glad for, actually, because there have been times where I either didn't valet park or came out and went like, shoot, I got to go back to the bar and buy a drink and add a little more and then ask if they could give me cash back. It's messy. So the fact that you have cash is good, but I understand what you're saying. I also have heard the argument that restaurants that don't accept cash are excluding people who may only have cash for a reason. Trying not to use credit cards.
That's true.
Maybe can't get a credit card. And so there's that school of thought too, that you need to offer both, because that's how people pay for things.
Yeah.
Is both cash and credit.
It just seems strange to me. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a hill I die on, but like, I am a person that if I see a penny, I will stop, turn around in a ball gown and pick it up.
I love to hear this. Now, do you do the penny thing where if it's wrong side up, do you flip it and leave it?
It's lucky no matter what, Sarah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really? Oh,
It found me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have a
true.
superstitious husband who, if it is tails up, and he's trained our little girls to do it. If you see that, you just flip it over so it's heads up, and then you leave it. And the next person who comes by in a ball gown gets to pick up a lucky penny.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm in ball gowns all the time. Okay. So, I'm going to keep going down my list. I get really suspicious also when a restaurant runs out of too many menu items, when they're like, we don't have this, 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 or this. I'm like,
What
what
you have?
happened?
Yeah.
What happened with the ordering? This speaks of chaos. It speaks of unorganized. It does not speak of supply chain to me anymore, though it did during the pandemic. So I could,
Uh-huh.
accept
You're like,
that.
is your kitchen manager on vacation?
I just, it upsets me.
Yeah.
When
It's always the thing you want too.
yes.
Yeah.
Always. And it's weird stuff too, where you're like, how did you run out of that?
Right. It's not like we don't have any of the duck dishes because we don't have duck. It'll
Someone
be like,
just didn't want to do the mise en place last night. I don't know. And this maybe goes hand in hand with it. I really don't like, I'm afraid of a restaurant where people tell me they don't like working there.
oh no.
So I'll hear probably more about restaurants that people don't like working at than they do, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because that there are places that people love to work because you see the people that have been there 30, 40 years here in Dallas. But I'm very suspicious of that. And then my final one, if it's too pervasive on social media, I'm like, you are doling out a lot of money to get influencers here. Is everything okay? What's wrong? Who's doing this? It just makes me nervous. I'm not saying that everything's like that. Sometimes things just blow up on TikTok or something like that, and it's just everyday people going. But you can tell when it's like branded. And I'm like, what are you trying to hide?
That's interesting.
Too curious.
I agree. I think those are great points.
Yeah. I don't know.
And what about Google reviews? Do you like them?
I don't read them.
The star thing and
I don't really do Yelp. All the times I consult review services that aren't people I know that I trust is to know what the most popular menu item is sometimes so I can go in prepared. I am the person that 100% does research before I go to any restaurant to know what I'm going to order.
What about you, Imelda? Do you do that?
Yeah, I try to do it because since I'm very anxious about it, so I try to look at the menu and decide before. Yeah, because if not, I'm gonna be like 15 or 20 minutes trying to decide. And you, Sarah?
I never ever look up a menu in advance. I
Really?
feel really strongly about
Oh,
this.
really?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, a lot of the restaurants we go to, I've either been there already or I've read about my colleagues going there. So I wouldn't say I go in blind, but I feel so strongly about menus, as we've already established, that I like to experience them. I like to sit down and do what I think most people do, which is try to figure out what you're going to order on this one page sheet while you're also chatting with people and making drink orders and whatever. Now, my husband is the opposite. He knows in advance the top 3 things he wants. We make deals during dinner. And if I haven't picked one of his 3 things, or if he hasn't picked one of mine, then we have to make, arrangements. But yeah, he also guesses pretty well what I will get. So he knows in
Mm.
advance what he thinks I'm going to order. I get there fresh faced. I enjoy the menu. And then I say, I would like the duck. And he's like, I knew it.
Wow.
I do the research and then I still don't know what I'm going to order by the
Ah.
time I've asked the waiter to come back 3 times because I don't know what I'm going to
Yeah.
order.
Well, and I guess doing the research in advance, you haven't gotten to ask the server yet what was most popular and what he or she likes. And so you didn't have those data points in
Well,
advance.
I'm the person that's craning my neck to look at other people's food when it's being placed
Oh,
down.
yeah, me too.
I want to know what
Yeah.
it is, what looks good. And then
Yes.
also you have to be open to specials.
Yeah.
You do, and they weren't on the menu. Yeah, speaking of that, it's very funny. I am a social person in a restaurant, as is my husband. And so before the first course has come out, even, he probably knows the people around the table. And he's probably then asked them what they're eating, like at the table next to us or
Mm.
something. And so when someone at our table is like, well, I got the tacos al carbon, he's like, oh, Sally got that behind us. You can take a look right now. It's so funny.
Well, if you have anything that frightens you at restaurants, we would actually love to hear about it, whether it is maybe a little silly like some of mine or, extremely serious. But probably we'd prefer funny. But you can tell us by visiting dallasnews.com/ask-eat-drink and filling out the form there on our website. That's all the time we have for Eat Drink DFW this week. Again, you can reach out to us to share your food thoughts and questions by visiting dallasnews.com/ask-eat-drink. We appreciate you tuning in and we'd love to hear from you. This show is produced by Billy Kidd. To catch up on every episode of this show and hear more from our newsroom, just follow the Dallas Morning News wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you hear, please rate the show and leave a review. Find links to all of our work at dallasnews.com/listen. You'll also find a special membership offer there just for listeners. For the news, I'm Anna Butler. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
Eat, Drink, DFW from the Dallas Morning News is made possible by Central Market.